right, so we're combining direct and inverse. So the key thing with this is making sure you're being careful about how you read it. Okay, so the owners of, yeah, you have to make sure you read. Okay, the owners of Rollerblades Plus determine that the monthly sales S of their skates varies directly as their advertising budget A and inversely as the price of the skates P. So if we write that out, we have S, the sales, equals K. And K will always be in your numerator no matter what. Okay, if it varies directly, that stays up top. So is their budget A. And that's going to be divided by, because of the inverse, as their price of skates P. Okay. We good with that? Okay, hold on. Yes. What?
Is this on there?
No, your notes, your video is on Canvas.
Okay.
This is college algebra.
Okay. All right.
All right, so plug in what we know. When $60,000 is spent on advertising, so that's our A. And the price of the skates is 40. The monthly sales are 12,000 pairs. Okay, so you kind of have options here. You can either divide first or multiply first. Let's go ahead and divide. So we have 12,000 equals, so 60,000 divided by 40 is 1,500. And then divide to get K by itself. So 12,000 divided by 1,500 tells us that K equals 8. So our formula altogether is S equals 8 times A divided by P. So from what we talked about yesterday, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then once you find that equation or formula, however you want to think about it, then you can plug in at any point now and solve for any of those variables. So determine the monthly sales if the amount of the advertising budget is increased to $70,000. So S is what we're looking for, equals 8 times that 70,000. And since it doesn't mention anything about your P, that's going to remain the same. So our P is still going to equal 40. Okay. The only thing that was increased was the advertising budget. So plug that all in your calculator. So 8 times 70,000 divided by 40. And what do you get?
14,000.
14,000. The monthly sales would be $14,000. Okay. Questions with that? All right. So the number of minutes needed to solve an exercise set of variation problems varies directly as the number of problems and inversely as the number of people working to solve the problems. Okay, so here we have to come up with our own variables. So we have the number of minutes. So I'm going to use lowercase m. Varies directly as the number of problems. So let's use, for this guy, number of problems, let's use n for number. And inversely is the number of people. And let's use P. Okay. All right, so M equals K. We're varying directly as the number of problems. so n, and then inversely as the number of people, which means we're dividing. It takes 4 people 32 minutes to solve 16 problems. So plug in what we know. So we have 32 equals k times, so n represents the number of problems, which is 16, divided by the 4 people. Well, what's 16 divided by 4? So 32 equals 4 times k. Divide by 4. And what's 32 divided by 4? 8.
8.
So our new formula, m, the number of minutes, equals 8 times the number of questions divided by p, the number of people. Then we can answer the question, how many minutes will it take 8 people to solve 24 problems? So m equals 8 times, let's see here, the number of problems, it was 24, divided by the number of people, 8. Well, what's 8 divided by 8? 1. These cancel. So it's just going to be 24 minutes. Questions there? All right. The last method of variation is joint variation. Okay, so joint variation is a variation in which variables vary directly as the product of 2 or more variables. So the equation y equals k times x times z is read y varies jointly as x and z. Okay. So okay, so jointly is going to be the same thing as our direct variation. When it says the word varies jointly, that's the same thing as doing direct. So it's going to all be multiplied, no division. All right. So the centrifugal force C of a body moving in a circle varies jointly with the radius of the circular path r and the body's mass m, and inversely with the square of the time t it takes to move about 1 full circle. There's a square. Yes, there's a square. All right, so let's go through that. So C, the force, equals K. And we vary jointly with the radius R, so that stays up top, and the body's mass, M. And then inversely, which means we're going to create that fraction, with the square of the time t. So t squared. Then plug in what you know. So we know a 6-gram body, which that would be our mass, and a circle with a radius of 100 centimeters, that's our R, at a rate of 1 revolution in 2 seconds, so T, so 2 squared, has a centrifugal force of 60,000 dynes. Or how about 6,000 dynes? Sorry. Okay, simplify everything on the right. So what is 6 times 100? How about 600? Okay. Divided by what's 2 squared? 4. And 600 divided by 4? 150. So 6,000 equals 150K. And then divide. So what is K? 40. So our new formula, C equals 40 times r times m divided by t squared. And then plug in what you know. So find the force, means we're solving for C, of an 18-gram body moving in a circle with a radius of 100. So 40 times 100 times 18 with a rate of 1 revolution in 3 seconds. So our time is 3. Well, what is 3 squared? 9. What's 18 divided by 9? 2. Okay, what is 4 times 2? Trust me, 4 times 2. 8. And then how many zeros do you have up there? 3. So 8,000. What's up, Kaylee? It's just a trick. And let's see, we're looking at force. So our label would be dynes. Okay. All right. I believe this is our last one. Okay, the volume of a cone V varies jointly as the height h and the square of its radius r. So volume equals k times h times r squared. A cone with a radius measuring 6 feet and a height measuring 10 has a volume of 120 pi. So 120 pi equals k times, our height is 10 and our radius is 6. Okay, 6 squared times 10. 360. Okay, so 120 pi equals 360k. And how would you get k by itself? Divide by 360. Okay, reduce. So 120 over 360. The zeros can cancel. 12 and 36 are both divisible by? More than that? More than that? 12. So this is actually 1/3 pi. Is our value for k. So our formula, volume equals 1/3 pi times the height times r squared, which is actually the volume formula for a cone. So find the volume of a cone having a radius of 12 feet and a height of 2 feet. Plug in what you know. Volume equals 1/3 pi times 2 times 12 squared. So volume equals, okay, we're going to leave the pi in our answer. So 12 squared times 2 divided by 3 gives us 96 pi. And let's say feet cubed. Questions? Offsite, you guys got any questions? All right, your homework is posted on Canvas. Next week on Monday, Tuesday, since we have shorter class periods, we only have about an hour. We're going to do review on both days, and then your test will be on Wednesday. So get caught up on your homework this weekend or today if you don't have, you're not caught up. Most of you are though. Okay, so work on this homework. I think it's not that long. How many is it?
I think 14.
14. It's a little bit longer than yesterday, I think. All right, offsite, you guys are free to go. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday.